Today's Forge Pass is brought to you by Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and no, not really. They are not. Don't sue me. Please don't sue me. We are here to talk about the Forge Pass. The new Forge Pass with the relic materials has dropped, and I think it's actually a worthwhile thing to talk about. So this is going to be a pretty quick, not particularly highly edited video, and we're going to talk about what I think of the value of this Forge Pass, both for the gear set involved, which, to be fair, I generally like the gear sets, and of course, what the relic materials are, and do I feel they are worth it? So first of all, let's talk about the relics in this event group. Overall, they're not too bad, actually. The Frostbond Cocoon, wearer is healed by 2% of their max HP when using their default skill. Not a horrible one, actually. I mean, for solo champions, there are probably better ones, but if you're looking for a champion to get some extra HP and some extra healing, it's not too bad, especially if they're not necessarily going to be always around the 50% mark, then this could be not too bad. For a rare, it's got some use and some interesting utility enough to where I would probably keep one or two of these things if I were to get some of them. We have the Pyros Melios. Wearer deals 2% more damage if all allies are alive. Doesn't work if there are no allies in the battle. That goes up to 10%. Not particularly exciting, really. It's, yes, it is constant extra damage. But honestly, I think I'd rather have one that gives me extra crit damage just as the main stat, let alone some of the other ones that give you a chance to get a huge bonus damage, such as the Malefic Talon, for example, or like, the Coronet, which gives you a 30% bonus without even raising it. It just needs to do a bunch of debuffs. We have Andromeda's Diadem. Whenever the wearer heals an ally with an active skill, a 10% chance to decrease the cooldown on one of those wearer's skills by 1 turn. That's actually pretty solid. That's actually a pretty nice one. So basically an active skill, and that goes up to 25% chance if you get that to a level 6. So probably more likely a 15 to 20% chance. Decent little extra bonus, but certainly something you can't rely on either because you're still going to be at the 15 to 25% range, which is not good enough to really rely on. But decent stats overall and gives you speed, so not too bad if you give it that high. The Exile's Crown, that is a resistance one. That could be useful for something. It's a stat stick for resistance. That's nice. Wearer receives 10% less damage from each debuff on them. Or, sorry, 1% debuff for each less damage on them. Damage reduction crawls up a little bit. Generally, you don't want champions to have debuffs on them. And the fact that this gives them resistance means they might blow them off anyway. This one seems to kind of fight what it wants to do. I don't like that one at all. Blades of Akamori, accuracy and HP and defense. Whenever an ally is attacked by an enemy, wearer has a 15% chance of placing provoke debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. That's an interesting one. That's a good, interesting way to keep up the attack or provoke debuff, I guess. And of course, that goes up to 30% if you make it maxed out. Not bad, actually. That one I don't mind too much. I don't think it's going to be great, but it's got some niche uses, and it's got enough interesting uses that I could see this show up on a couple different interesting champions, and I could think that could be fun for Hydra, as well as that could be fun for Arena in some cases, actually. We got the Bane of Centranos, another accuracy one. Whenever an enemy receives a buff, the wearer has a 15% chance of getting the same buff for 2 turns. Occurs once per turn. If you guys are familiar with Mighty Uko, this is basically Mighty Uko's passive, except for he steals the buff as opposed to you just get a copy of it as well. Once per turn means you only get a chance at it once it actually happens. And it's okay. It's definitely interesting, and it's a 15 to 30% chance. It could be interesting. It gives you a chance to do some fun stuff, like have somebody else get block damage randomly, but since it's once you get one, it goes on cooldown. Limited use, but definitely an interesting one. It's got some unique opportunities for use, at least. The Immortal Visage here is a speed relic, so it's already a great relic, but once per round, wearer is revived with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. So that's pretty huge, and you get more turn meter and stuff. That's a good way to keep a nuker alive in many cases, or a speedster alive that might be a reviver. So you can put this on a reviver. This is really good. This is an amazing relic. Probably one of the top relics in the game right now, honestly. This has got so many good uses for PvP and PvE. It's kind of hard to state how good this is. The Dread Bomb. Wearer has a 10% chance to gain an extra turn when attacking. Wearer also ignores 10% of an enemy's defense when attacking during extra turn. That's huge. That is a great one for a damage dealer. It also goes really good on champions that constantly are getting extra turns as well. So this could be very fun on a Rhodos when you have Rhodos in 9-piece Merciless set, where it could be very, very good. Or you could have him in something fun, or you could be using this on like a first axe. He would be a Tuskor, would be a fun one because he gets a bunch of extra turns automatically in his kit as well. Champions that get extra turns could make real fun with this. And the fact that it's crit damage and speed means it works on any damage dealing champion, not just one with attack, because the crit damage and then speed are two very important things on champions that you might use that on. So that is a pretty good one. So these relics are overall pretty good. And that's going to probably color a little bit what I'm going to say about the value of this pass. But let's actually look at the pass and see what the value of the pass is. So if we look at the pass, there's a bunch of different things on here. Obviously, we have the normal Forge Pass, and then we have the third tier down here. The third tier is going to be $50, whereas the second tier is going to only be $20. Now, I am not 100% sure if you can buy just the gold tier and then later on upgrade for $30 more to the platinum or not. We'll certainly see. I'm sure somebody will tell you about that. I'm actually surprised Polarium has not mentioned that yet. Or if you buy the gold pass now, if the platinum pass may be a little more expensive later on. So that could get you with some of the FOMO on going for the platinum pass. But as far as some of the stuff you get here, there's a bunch of different stuff down here in the bottom row. But if we actually take a look at what we get here, this Forge Pass Ultimate Rewards here, as you can see here, you get 6-piece mythical gear here for Instinct set. And Instinct set's actually a pretty good set. And then if you go and grab this over here, you can get 200 rare materials, 200 epic, and 200 legendary. Now that is not for getting to level 50. That is for finishing everything. And that's from everything you get. So you can see here, you can get 50 from level 50. And then there's another 25 legendary here and another 25 legendary here. Now, honestly, if you buy the pass, it is really not too hard if you're doing the weekly quests to finish this a week and a half early. It's not that hard to do. So don't really worry about too much of that, especially if you buy it early. And I would honestly recommend buying it early if you're going to buy it, because that gives you the longest use of this extra XP and extra silver in there as well. And that's a great way to actually just get decent silver and honestly level up champions a little bit faster as well. So in addition to all of those relic crafting materials, there's a mystery gem of some kind that is a legendary random shape gem, epic random shape gem, different shape gem chests. There's a couple chests here that are very specific gem shapes as well. Like this is a rare diamond shaped gem and a rare hexagon or pentagon. So you get a little bit of everything from this here. You get some basalt. In fact, we get 1, 2, 3 level 1s, 3 level 2s, 4 level 2s, 1 level 3, which is okay, I guess. It's not super amazing. And honestly, that is $30 more than the gold pass. It's actually about $10 more than I was expecting it. But honestly, I expected probably another 100 legendary minimum and probably another 100 and 100 here of the crafting materials. So you get 5 bites at the apple for this particular set. None of them are mythic fragments, which give you a 20% chance to get a mythical. So you have a very low chance of getting a mythical, and honestly not a great chance of getting a legendary here. If we go into the relic crafting and go here and take a look at, if I pull up a legendary here, legendary has a 5.5% chance of getting a mythical. So that's what you're going to have, and almost a 40% chance of getting a legendary. So those legendary materials have a 60% chance of giving you only an epic. So your only chance to get a mythical or reasonable level is this one here. And then if you're getting the epic ones here, the epic ones are going to give you a 4.5% chance, or actually just over 4% chance to get anything other than a rare or an epic. And of course, the rare materials give you almost no shot at getting anything other than a rare. Occasionally, you might get an epic, and not much else. On top of that, you have a 50% chance of getting a regular generic one, not one of the specific ones here. So you might even luck out and get a mythical, and you might still get a mythical that is not in the relics that you're going to get from the pass itself. Now, are you going to have more of these passes to get more bites at this? Oh, sure. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a permanent fixture to the Forge Pass from now on. Do I think it is a worthwhile investment? It's probably going to depend on what your spend level is. I think that if you're not wailing out and looking for the best of the best, this is at least a way to flat out buy, all of these crafting materials. It's not horrible, but it feels, honestly, it kind of feels dirty. It feels like this is a bit of a scam to make you feel like you're going to be missing out on these things. And honestly, it feels like buying sacred shards, which are really not a particularly good value, because a sacred shard has such a high chance of getting an epic that at an end game account, you're not getting much out of a sacred shard. Now, an early game account might be kind of cool, and obviously you can use these shards. Sacred shards are very valuable for points in different events. But as far as actually getting champions are concerned, sacred shards are a little less valuable than some of the other shards, just because the other shards come in such larger quantities that you get a volume of champions and a decent shot at something big eventually with that volume that you go through. So do I think that the Platinum Pass is really something you should be investing in? Honestly, I don't think it's great. I'm debating on it, just maybe for a video for I can do this thing and then I can pull them and I can make a video about how bad a value it was. Maybe not. If you're really, really worried about the basalt, well, that could be very helpful. There is some of the Starstone right here too. So there's like 300 Starstone, another 200 there, another 200 there, and another 150 there, and another 150 there. So looks like there's about 1,200 Starstone. That's not bad if you're running low on Starstone. I am not, but I know some people are because they're constantly moving those things around. And the gems, well, most of these gems are below the epics. And honestly, I've got, I think, most of the epic gems. I definitely have all the rare gems, and so many of all those rare gems, I don't know what to do about them. And even here, this is a legendary, so no mythic gem for you at all in this pass. And I guess what I should be thankful for is the value on this pass is so low that it doesn't feel like they have monetized whale-only mythical relics yet. But it is still a monetization of relics to some extent. And I guess it was only a matter of time before they did monetize some of this stuff. This is Polarium we're talking about, and this is a game that monetizes a lot of things. But I'm not really feeling the $50 pack here. And I'm definitely not feeling the $50 pack if I can't spend $20 here and then spend an additional $30 to upgrade that there. If they're going to charge me $40 if I upgrade for this 10 pass, then that is a big, big nope. Now, as far as the other pass is concerned, well, this is actually a really good set. So if you wanted to invest $20, and again, how much your tolerance for $20 spending on raid is going to depend on you and your account. But for an early game account, you can craft a ton of this gear. In fact, I believe you can craft almost 100 pieces of the gear here. Plus, you're going to get 6 of these mythical pieces here as well. Now, there's no guarantee that these will be of any use whatsoever, because these are still going to be random. They could be flat stats. They could be absolutely gross. They could have no crit stuff. But Instinct is actually a pretty solid set. 12% speed and 20% ignore defense is pretty huge. And the fact that you get a ton of this stuff for generally playing the game for $20, That is an awful lot of basically saved energy from having to farm some Fire Knight. Now, Savage is possibly better because Savage is going to give you a 25% ignore defense. But if you're struggling for speed as an early game player, or honestly in a late game build, sometimes you're struggling for speed even with Savage. And of course, depending on how much lethal you may or may not have, lethal gives you an extra 10% crit rate in addition to the 25% crit damage. So lethal is strictly better. But Instinct gives you extra speed, making it very interesting and very viable for speed champions. I believe my Rhodos is currently in Instinct because it allows him to be ultra fast in the build that I currently have my Rhodos in. And of course, I can't get him in 9-piece Merciless, unfortunately, so there's that as well. So Instinct can be very good. Lazarus could be a very good champion in Instinct. You want him to be able to do damage, but you want him to be super fast as well because he is a speed boosting champion, but he also is a major damage dealer. And you can build him as a pure damage dealer, you can build him as a hybrid. Having Instinct gear lets you build him a little more of a hybrid build where he's going to have a ton of speed and still be able to ignore defense. And in the end game, ignoring defense is the way to do damage. It's one of the most important things you can do to increase your damage is to figure out how to ignore defense. So overall, Instinct, very, very good. On top of the fact that you get yourself up to 50% extra silver and 50% extra XP doing anything in the game. Not just only in campaign, but doing anything. So hey, if I'm going to be running some Minotaur, I'm getting 10%, I get up to 50% extra XP. That's going to mean that my Minotaur runs are that much better and that much more efficient. So I can burn through leveling up champions in Minotaur just a bit faster. And when they come out the other end, they're almost going to be a full 6-star 60 anyway. Absolutely amazing. Otherwise, on top of that, you actually get a good amount of silver for just running some of the dungeons, and 50% more silver than you already get running all the dungeons, running all the other areas of the game, running anywhere that gets you silver is going to add up over time. So you get silver, you get gear, which of course, some of this gear you're going to, you said this gear may not be great. It may be sellable. Some of the gear you're going to forge, probably going to be sellable. There's more silver you're going to get as well. Plus you're getting glyphs. These glyphs can be, the charms, I should say, these charms can be very good for getting the right stats on the gear you're going to make. I thought there were glyphs. Yeah, there's a couple of glyphs in here too. So you get some resistance glyphs. That's not particularly exciting here, but there's a couple of glyphs. I saw a speed one floating around. There's a speed one. So there's a couple other glyphs you're getting as well. For people that are not spending a lot of time in Arena, the Magisteel can be very, very helpful as well because you need that. And it's actually pretty easy to run out of Magisteel forging a bunch of stuff. Now you just want to be careful about claiming all of that because if you, run out of room for the Magisteel, if we go here, for example, you can see here I have 5,000 Magisteel. I'm actually kind of low. Meanwhile, I'm actually full up on this particular crafting material as well for the resilient stuff and honestly for the perception stuff. Well, I could find that the Magisteel might be useful for me to get a bunch of, because you get, maybe 6 to 8 pieces per arena battle. So at some point in time, it's kind of hard to build this back up. So that's another good reason for the Forge Pass. Ultimately, the Forge is one of the best places that you can use to get gear because you have so much control over what that gear does. I made a video on it beforehand, but literally I could go in here and if I want to craft lethal, I can do a ranked charm. I can do another ranked charm. I can do a mythical charm. So now we're talking about possibly getting mythical lethal gear. And then I can say, hey, I really want chess pieces because I'm kind of short on chess pieces. And then I would like to focus on speed, or I might like to focus on crit rate instead. And then I can craft a piece, and it's certainly not going to be perfect, but there's a better chance of me getting something useful when I'm crafting like this and it's already going to be in the set that I want. It has a better chance of being the piece I might be looking for because I can influence that. I'm not guaranteed, but I am more likely to get one of the substats that I'm looking for. And in particular, that means that speed, crit rate, and accuracy charms are super, super valuable. And it's honestly got a chance of being mythic, and it has a higher chance than normal of being a 6-star versus a 5-star, and being more likely to be epic, legendary, or again, mythical with the mythical charm than it does to be rare. So you have so much control on this. Plus, it's free CVC points when you're forging. That's a lot of extra CVC points. And again, you're going to sell some of this stuff anyway, extra silver. So honestly, I think the Forge Pass, generally pretty good. The Platinum Pass, I'm not really feeling that as a good value. That said, I am not, I am an endgame player, but I am not an endgame ultra, endgame whale. So I am not doing the billions of damage on Hydra. It's just not me. I am not competing at the top end of Arena. I compete at a high end level of Arena, but I do not compete at the top end of Arena. My builds could certainly be better. I don't have champions going over 400 speed. For people that spend a ton of money, $50 versus a $20 pack that they probably would have bought anyway is a drop in the bucket. So people are going to buy this. But whether or not you should buy this or whether this is good value, depending on what your budget is, it's really going to be up to you. If you are struggling to get good relics, or you are struggling with things like the stage, the Starstone right here, maybe that might make it worthwhile. If you are really, really, really running low on the basalt, well, there is a good amount of basalt in here. It is okay. It is not something that is screaming, this is worth the extra $30 for me. But again, maybe I'm in a different place in valuing what I am than you are. So only you can make the right decision as far as whether or not this is worth it for you. But I thought I would break down my thoughts on it and give you my opinions. I am unsure if I'm actually going to go for this or not. I think I might, just because I could use the additional experience. I could use the additional silver. I wouldn't mind some of the extra glyphs right here. And of course, there's, charms would be helpful as well. You get some nice chaos ore out of this. You get some decent instinct gear. And honestly, I'd like instinct, and I could probably use some more and better instinct than I currently have. So I don't think it's the worst thing to have. And if it sits in my vault for a while and I don't use it, that's fine too. I'll have it when I'm ready to craft it. And if I decide I want to go ham on crafting, well, this Magisteel is going to be very, very critical to me be able to craft a lot of this stuff. And that's one of the things too. The weekly quests right here, if you do all 5 of the weekly quests, there's 200 more Magisteel here for you every week. So you can get up to an extra few thousand if you do the full-on pass right here. And if you're a free-to-play player, I still think that trying to max this out is going to be very valuable for you. Now, don't, go out of your way to kill yourself to max it out. But the ability to craft maybe 15 to 20 of these pieces for free, you might get a couple of really good pieces. You might even get enough to squip a champion in. That would be great. If not, this will come around again. And then maybe that next time you might be able to craft something interesting. And, eventually you'll build up and get some cool stuff. And even if you end up just selling all of it, it's free resources. Again, free silver, more silver, some chaos ore, some glyphs and charms. There's stuff here that is decent. And the Magisteel, certainly not bad either as well. So I would certainly recommend trying to do what you can along this path here. Don't kill yourself necessarily for it, but especially if you're not buying the path, I think it is very useful. I think for my free to play, I'm definitely going to try to max it out because I think this set could be very helpful on my free to play. And on my main, I'm debating whether or not I'm going to buy this pack. I'm probably not buying the platinum though, because again, I think the platinum is really just not great rewards. It feels bad to get only 5 bites at the apple for this. You could certainly string it out a little bit more, maybe get a few more than 5, but then you're mixing up the chance to get something else instead if you're using other materials. So really, you're not always going to get that full, 50% chance if you mix some of these things a little bit. And I just, those relics are pretty good, but the fact that I could pull all 5 of these things, get 1 epic and 4 rare artifacts or relics, and get all of them from the regular set makes this pass not worth it. Not going to say full out scam, but you know, I don't think that this is good value for almost any player unless you are a really, really big spender. So hey guys, let me know what you think of the new Platinum Pass, whether or not you're going to be going for it or not, what your valuations are. Do you think I'm kind of spot on? Do you think that this is really kind of cringe? Let me know what you think. I'm certainly kind of interested in this. Again, I'm not telling you you have to spend on it. You can choose to spend or not spend. It is really up to you. But I'm trying to give you my knowledge and my value of it based on what I'm looking at right now. So hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Hopefully this was helpful for you. I appreciate you all. You guys are absolutely amazing. Have a wonderful day. And until the next video, I am Bront CatHerder.